On 29 July 2025, All In With Stalin released its first trailer on YouTube, and over the last 6 months, we've been able to speak to a dozen different people, all from different realms of the sports world. Not knowing what the journey would be like, not knowing will we be able to get guests for the podcast, not knowing how the community would respond. But the objective was simple and clear, to be able to get different people from the sports world all under one roof. And just like that, we've completed 13 episodes in 2025. And after listening to different perspectives, here are a few insightful conversations. One thing that you've not touched, I think, is cricket. Is there any, specifics as to why your brand doesn't want to do cricket?
It's not like we don't want to do cricket, but the thing is that the reason why the company was started or was found was because we wanted to give everybody an equal opportunity. So there's so many people doing so much for cricket, but there's nobody doing anything for Kho-Kho, or there's nobody doing anything for, that this was back in the day. Now I know that they have leagues and all that, but there's no no platform for bridging the gap between you playing in extracurricular classes or whatever, and you actually becoming professional. So there's a huge gap to be filled, and that's the gap that we have to fill that, so that everybody gets an equal opportunity. And cricket, that's a sport that everybody's doing school, everybody's doing college, everybody's doing university, everybody's doing professional, everybody's doing women, right? Everything is being done. But there's so many sports that need our urgent attention right now. If you really want to grow at the pace that we're set to grow, we need to actually focus on all these domains.
But just to add to that point, right? Making money in a sport that is not cricket, how difficult is that? I understand
it's
from where
very
you're
difficult.
coming.
It's very difficult. Like as of this point, it's so difficult right now that nobody wants to actually fund any other sport because they know they're going to get the maximum return on investment when it's cricket. But just because cricket is, let's just say, the religion right now, doesn't mean that other sports don't have the room to grow. And one of the biggest disruptors of this cricket monopoly was actually PKL, Pro Kabaddi. They proved a point that no, there is room for growth, and we can definitely penetrate the Indian market if you have the right sport, if you have the right production, if you have the right right way that you market it. There's no way that it's going to go waste, because even though IPL is a religion right now, but we have 1.5 odd billion people. And still, if you look at the numbers that we're doing in terms of revenue that IPL is getting, or the TV rights that IPL is doing, we can do much better. It's still in its infancy right now, in my opinion. I might be wrong, but in my opinion, it's still at its infancy right now.
So what is this ultra runners thing that you mentioned now?
Ultra running is anything more than the 42 kilometer distance. So a marathon is 42 kilometers. Anything above that, beyond that is ultra. So 50,
and are there
75,
different segments, different terms? What is it?
So a general ultra is anything above 42, but there are different races: 50, 100, 75, 200, 200 miles, 240 kilometers. It just, so there is no higher limit. People are, there's something called as backyard racing, backyard ultra. So backyard ultra, you just keep running until the last man stands.
You don't know.
You don't know what the finish line is.
Wow.
So the races just keep on going till 8 days, and you don't know when is the other person gonna fall. So the only way that you know that you are winning is if the other person is falling, or he's stopping. So that is the ceiling. If humans can keep going that high, what do you have to stop at this time? What do you have to stop at 5 kilometers?
I've seen a lot of documentaries, so I love to watch sports documentaries. So I think if they can do it, then I feel like I.
And she's crazy. She's borderline crazy. If she does not run for 2 days, third day she'll be rotting in the bed. That's why we have to make Shraddha go for your run.
So it's always
analogy, and I ask to the kids. So when you go to your biology class, you have a notebook for biology? I say, yeah, I have. And for math, you have, but you have a notebook for basketball? I say, no. And I ask him, why don't you have a notebook for basketball? Why don't you note that in 24 of November, I make 100 shots on my room? And they say, sir, but I don't have a ball in there. Come on, man, you can buy that small hoops that you have in Amazon for 500 rupees. And you can improve your shooting technique 500, and you can, I shoot 500 and I made 200, for example. And then the other day you do the same. And you do the same. And after 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, you're going to look to your notebook and say, I already make 10,000 shots. So means that you already make 10,000 shots more than the other guy from the other team. And this is not just a competition when I'm with my team. Sometimes I have to compete with myself and knowing that someone, somewhere is training too. and I have to be better than him. Why I cannot make, for example, 100 abs and 100 push-ups every single day before I go to bed?
Because I'm not pushing myself.
And this is come to this mindset. I want to be better. I have the correct mindset. But now what I do for me to be better? You think that I'm going to improve just going to the team practice and go home? It's impossible.
I've also seen a lot of players, right, who play well. Somehow they get injuries at times. And a lot of people blame the injuries not with stuff that happens on field, but what you're doing off the field.
Very important.
So what would you tell the players that they're doing off the field that they shouldn't be doing, probably?
I would ask the player, like, do you really want to play football? Do you want to make it to the highest level? And do you want to just make it and come down there? You want to sustain that. That's very important. If you want to be there, up there for a long time, you have to put the work in every day. Another thing, off the field, when I mean what I mean off the field, are you taking care of your sleep, diet, your recovery, your foam rolling? I mean, late night out. I have training tomorrow in the morning. Am I going to go out late night? You got to understand where you want to be. If you think late night outgoing is more important than tomorrow's practice, don't play a sport. Don't play any sport.
Right.
Give it up.
Right.
So if you're just going to play for the name for once, there's no point. Try and be there as much as you can at the highest level. That is very important. So my thing is, what you do on field is 10%. What you do off field is 90%. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sure at that age, the girl child may not, think about it, or for her it's more of the parents probably taking decisions for her when you're 12 or when you're 13 of that sort. But also just to have the right infrastructure, right things in place at the right time, I think it'll make a huge difference. Do you think we have that right now?
I think we have a lot of new infrastructure coming up as well. I think the problem is just the fact that she doesn't feel safe. There's no safety, dignity or joy there. Right? And that's also one of Khelegi's, that's our purpose statement also, right? Which is to enable girls to play sports through puberty and menstruation with dignity, safety and joy. And of course, just making a space dignified for them to play. Just making sure that they feel safe in their bodies while playing and just joyful. Like, people forget how important it is for a girl to be, for a girl to be happy to play. Because that's the first thing that will make her want to stay, right?
That's
make
true.
her want to fight through.
That's true.
We are trying to understand why that affinity to women's sports specifically from you. Like, have you had that connection in terms of, seeing young cricketers play? Like, how did you get yourself involved so much into?
I feel in, okay, so two things. Like, I feel in general, like, everybody wants to root for the underdog. And you only need support when nobody's supporting you.
Yeah.
And like that's what matters the most, to be honest. If when nobody's there and like you have an arm around your shoulder, like for your friend or whatever, is like that's what matters most. Unless like you have like, it's like when you're having a good time, you have a birthday, everybody's there. That's men's cricket. Everybody's there. Like one more person going out and shouting for, like, it's not going to help them a lot. But from when we were coming in, when nobody is out there, nobody is shouting. Well, I think even like 10 to 15 people like coming up was like a big thing. And I mean, so it was like, okay, let's focus here. Because this is the area which required that support. These are the players which did not have that backing. And you can see like the efforts do improve. When you have 100 people shouting behind you your name, you feel better. You run faster. You think more, you're more involved in the game and you put in that more effort.
Somewhat of that way. So what happened was, before I did Instagram, I used to live stream on Twitch. And I think when COVID hit, during that time, a lot of the F1 drivers had started streaming. Charles, George, Lando and Max, they used to do sim racing and they used to stream it. They used to do like their own F1 races. And there was a whole virtual F1 series that had happened back then.
In 2020?
In 2020, yeah. Because they couldn't go to the actual races, so they actually organized an online race for the drivers to do. A lot of people started getting into sim racing more because they were sitting at home, they were getting bored, they wanted to, and they liked the sport, right? So they saw these drivers do it. So they started getting into Formula 1 like games and everything. And that's when I used to stream F1. So because of the streaming, I interacted and connected with a lot of international creators.
Nice.
And they were running this series called the Creator Series.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a bunch of YouTubers who create F1 content. A lot of them are official team content creators. So there's guys who are part of the Ferrari esports team. There are
Right.
guys with like McLaren esports team. So
Right.
they used to race in that, and because I got in touch with them and used to race with them, they asked me to be part of it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I wasn't a YouTuber back then, but when those guys used to make like stream their races or make content out of it, their Indian audience saw an Indian flag on the grid. So they saw an Indian flag and they were like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Why do we not know about him? So then they came and followed me, and then I started, because I was streaming, so they wanted to join my races. So what we ended up doing was I organized a Formula 1 league for Indian drivers. So we used to call it Indian Formula Racing.
Nice.
And it was, we ran 2 seasons of it and full stack grid. We had 20 drivers, all part of like 10 teams to each. And they used to sit, strategize and everything.
It's
And
all virtual.
all virtual, everybody sitting in their homes in lockdown. Okay, and it turned into such a good thing because I streamed those races as a commentator. Okay. I used to host the race and I used to commentate on it. And it was incredible because suddenly I had like 50-60 people watching those guys race, and just these normal guys sitting in their houses. And it was beautiful. So for the next season, we actually got sponsorship for it as well. And I was able to gift an actual wheel to the winner, plus like, money prize and everything.
Especially when it comes to content, there's no one formula. For some people, it kind of works quicker than others. I mean, I've seen a lot of YouTubers and even Instagram creators who've grown up within their first year. So, firstly, it's not luck. Secondly, there is an audience for the sort of content that they're doing.
Yeah.
And they must be doing something right.
Yeah.
I think there's no one with a big audience. If they're not doing something right, then it won't grow. So they were doing something right for sure. But then for, I think, majority of creators, because everyone is just trying to jump onto this bandwagon of creation, for them, it's a case of learning on the go. So there's a lot of evolving, failures, and then you realize, okay, let's not do this, let's do this. And that's why it takes a longer period of time.
Yeah.
But that's also a very enjoyable journey.
Yeah, because you're figuring yourself out.
Yeah, you're figuring yourself out. You're figuring out what people like. So you're figuring out what you would like to do. And that's a very nice phase, I feel, actually. When you look back at it, you really appreciate that moment, that phase.
Yeah.
And that's how it happens for most creators. So if you're someone who's wanting to do content, patience, I think one of the advice that I would give is patience is very, very key.
Are there any kind of challenges that you're facing right now? Because to push this with comments coming in like that, it is going to be, like a struggle. So
I mean, I think like just because it's hard, it doesn't mean I shouldn't do it, for one.
Yeah.
But it's, like, I don't think the comments are honestly like at all relevant. I don't think that they are like a part of this journey of me trying to push women's sports. It's always going to be there.
Fair, absolutely.
But yeah, of course, like it is difficult in a country like India to be pushing female athletes and pushing women's sports. I don't think, like we're much ahead. Like we're not where we were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of progress for sure. Even if it's just with cricket, it's a start.
Do you also think that a lot of influential people getting together, being part of the sport would help grow the sport even more?
See, we didn't look at it like that from the beginning. We didn't. Otherwise, we could have had a star face for every team, which is what everybody is doing. Our idea from the beginning has been to make the athlete the star, because we are very sure that unless the athlete is the star, the people are not going to watch the sport.
Right.
You might put on the TV to watch a performance by a famous actress because, she's doing the opening, and you might put on the TV to watch, there's a famous actor there who owns the team.
Right.
But you will not watch the sport regularly. I don't think the league would have got the numbers if you just had a celebrity face attached. And a lot of sports are just doing that, just having celebrities attached to the league. That is why even if you see our sport, it's not us that we're promoting. That's not the reason we got into the sport, to do self-promotion. We would have made a couple more films with us in the league if that's what we wanted to do. So the idea of doing Panja is growing the sport, to making a difference to a community of athletes who otherwise would have nobody to grow them. And by coming into Panja, we've come into a sport by which us coming in would make a difference.
Right.
Every other sport already has a lot of support and a lot of people in it.
A sports broadcaster is not alone. He is
There is a whole
almost,
team.
He's almost the face, and he's being handled just like a puppet by a lot of other people. The director, the producer, they should be given all the credit. The floor managers, the producers around you.
Some of the floor, I'm not some, every single one of them is so incredible.
They will hold your hand and they'll bring you back on track.
Right.
They are following that. You know, initially when we were on games together, there were some floor managers who would be like, "Arey, yaar, these two guys, wow, what RO do we follow?" But they know exactly where you are, where you're going, where you're coming from. Incredible professionals. So
A Premier League footballer like Micah Richards would be spending a 60k. Would an Indian footballer be spending at least somewhere between 5 to 10, 15, maybe lesser? Have we as a country, have we as players evolved there? Have we gone?
I think not yet, right? Because it kind of has a lot to do with how much of value that is to you, right?
Correct.
If your haircut makes you look good and it pays you, is the reason why you will spend enough money on getting that haircut to look good.
Right.
If you're getting paid, say, ₹1,00,000,
Yeah.
you know, for an advert, you know,
Yeah.
you're probably gonna spend a portion of that into your grooming itself.
Correct.
Right. But if you're not getting paid that number today,
Yeah.
then you might not be looking to invest more on your grooming itself. Right.
Correct.
It's a personal preference as well. It's not necessary that every other person who's rich tends to spend a lot more. I mean, that's something we've established very clearly even with our business, that even though our business creates an experience, it might not be for everyone. But mostly someone who sees themselves in front of a camera, where the looks are involved, yeah, they definitely are someone who would spend a little more than usual.
Right.
I mean, getting a not so good haircut could also cost them an advert. Or a commercial, right? So they can't be risking it. So yeah, like between a 5 to 10,000 is like a fair amount you can expect.
Correct.
You know.
What do you think separates a good cricketer from a great cricketer?
I think basic ability is very important, as in the physical ability of, you know, the skills and the talent, batting skills or bowling skills. If that is very limited, there's only so much you can achieve. But if you're gifted with that basic ability, ball sense, and like a Bumrah, the kind of talent that he has, raw talent, then after that it's just about how smart you are and how your self-confidence is. I think that is the most important thing, how you feel on a world stage when you feel inherently superior to the rest. Like a Virat Kohli 2013 when he had that run against Jimmy Anderson. Went to Australia in the next test series and got 400. So his confidence doesn't get shaken easily, but now it's currently shaken in test cricket for sure. But that was Virat Kohli then, and that is what separates a great from the other. They just recover from failures much better. And that is why also they don't have a long stretch of failures.
And as we walk into 2026 in this new year, we hope you join this growing sports culture, this growing sports community. And I'm going to try my best to go out there and try and get different guests for you, because sports is therapy, sports is knowledge, sports is entertainment. And we're going to try a little bit of everything.